to the show.
Count it, count it, count it.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is the Toucher and Rich radio program, Town Fair Tire Studios. You can watch us on Twitch at twitch.tv, or you can call us. We're 617-779-0985. And Nicholas will be in here in a moment. Mike Lockhart is in here. John Wallach is in here. And I'm sure that you have heard many, many things. And it was, if you're half of you probably didn't care about anything, and 30% of you were annoyed. But now we can give you some answers to what was going on. But I'm going to drag it out as long as possible to make it as difficult for people that are transcribing this as I possibly can.
Okay.
All right?
I can't wait.
I'm going to drag this out for as long as I can, so everyone who's describing it or trying to find or taking the Twitch video to make snarky comments will have to dig through 20 minutes of audio.
Get your phone out. We'll wait for you.
All right, the phone is out. All right. So a lot's been going on, and I will address all of it, and you'll know why it was annoying to us too. It was just everything was annoying, and it wasn't like in my opinion on things, as if you've ever listened to the show, is I would rather just get it out there and move on. And here's what's happening. All right. Rich is not here today, but I'm going to recap everything that has happened to this point, and then if this goes well, we'll replay it at 8. If it goes poorly, we'll do it again at 8.
Mm-hmm. Drag it out just as long.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so Nick Gemelli's in studio, Mike Lockhart's in studio, John Wallach's in studio, Dan O'Brien is behind his microphone because he has to run the board, and I am here, Fred Toucher. All right, Rich Shirtenlieb is not here today. Now, why? Well, I will tell you this. I met Rich Shirtenlieb in 1999 in Atlanta, Georgia. Before the millennium. Before Y2K. It is now 2023. We're the two youngest people at 99X in Atlanta, which was a very popular, if you can believe, popular music station. They don't exist anymore, but it was a very popular music station. He was a very funny, fourth mic stunt guy on the morning show. I was a secretary at first, and then I was the night guy, and we were by far the youngest. He was like 22, and I was 23, and we became friendly, and I was enamored that he was on the morning show because I was doing nights. I always wanted a morning show, and sometimes we did bits together, la la la. So he moves on, and he goes to the Kid Craddock show in Dallas, which is this massive, nationally syndicated top 40 show in Dallas, and he goes and works there. And meanwhile, I get the morning show in Atlanta. Now, the reason I'm talking about myself is because there becomes a point where it's obvious where I'm talking about myself and talking about you guys, because there's a lot of stuff I don't know, and I will make that clear as to why. So he goes to work for Kid Craddock. I go to work and do the morning show in Atlanta. My station is bought by Cumulus. I meet John Dickey from Cumulus. He's a total a-hole. And I say, I want to leave this company. I ask to be bought out. He says, fine. Rich is on the Kid Craddock show. He wants his own. He wants a show where he's like the guy, or like in a partnership. So it so happens that he's leaving the Kid Craddock show at the time. Now I'm auditioning with a a bunch of people like around the country. And to be honest with you, as you guys know, Rich is very focused, and Rich, I mean, quite frankly, Rich is basically the one that kind of put this show together. I was out doing stuff and traveling to different cities and auditioning with different people, and Rich and I hit it off, and we, of course, went to BCN. And then when we came up to BCN, it was Rich who brought Adolfo, who gave us years of entertainment. He had us give up salary to bring Crash up. There's a reason I bring that up. But we paid Crash out of our own pockets. Nick Gemelli, who's in studio, became an intern. Mike Lockhart was an intern. Both work for the show, now work, where they're handsomely paid. And they're in studio right now. We did BCN. We rolled that into the ground, and then by some miracle, they said we're starting the Sports Hub.
I helped you roll BCN into the ground too.
Yeah, you were in management, so that you're even more responsible for it than I am.
Absolutely.
So so basically, Dan ran it into the ground. Dan and Chachi. And no, but we were the morning show, and by some unknown miracle, Mark Hannon and Mike Thomas said, we're going to keep you guys as the morning show. And we didn't know why. And to be honest with you, Rich was not thrilled. Rich was not the world's biggest sports guy. He didn't want to really do sports talk radio. I thought that it would be good because it's Boston, and Rich certainly adapted, and we had great success. And the reason I brought in that we were paying for Crash is that then when we started at 98.5 The Sports Hub, we brought in Wallach, and Wallach fit in great, and it was time for Crash to go. Now, I'm just going to give you an example of what this situation was like. I talked to Crash this morning on the phone because Crash is one of my best friends. When it was time for Crash to go, Crash wanted to leave, and it was time for Crash to go.
But I kind of sensed that too.
But if you asked Rich, he didn't hear any of that. Rich did not want Crash to go, but Crash wanted to go. His wife hated it here. His wife at the time hated it here. He was one of my best friends, and it was time for Crash to go. He wanted to go back to Atlanta.
Ever tell you I had that conversation with his wife about that?
I'm sure she was a huge fan of mine.
I know. Other than, throwing bouquets of roses at your feet, she told me at great length how much she hated it here and wanted to leave. It made me feel a lot less guilty about that.
So my point is, there were situations like that where, dude, Crash is one of my best friends. He wants to leave. I want him. It's time for him to go. Wallach's fitting in great. There's no room for him. They're not going to pay everybody. Let him go. And he's like, no. And it's just, he doesn't. You guys can attest to this. Sometimes he gets in this mood and he just really doesn't hear what you're saying because it's not what he wants to hear. But then we go to 98.5 The Sports Hub, and the station has great success. The show has great success, and Rich is very determined and focused, and it was a great partnership in that Rich had Rich was a big idea guy. He came up with a scavenge, which still to this day, when Brian Scalabrine took on, when people thought Scalabrine sucked, so he agreed to take on all comers in pickup games. That was Rich's idea. Get that man a tan with Scalabrine was Rich's idea. 98 Mile, when it first started, was great. And these were all Rich's ideas. And with 98 Mile, and he put it all together. He did all the production. He's ended up splitting it with Hardy, but he did the majority of the production. I mean, Rich is as talented a production guy and as big a deal guy as possible. And it was a great partnership because he had these big ideas, and he was a production. Now, what do I know about production? I've always been a host. I'm more improvisational and this and that. So, we have this time goes by, and it's 17 years, and And then I won't get into great detail about this today, but it came out, and I'll just kind of explain from my end what went on. Earlier this year, Rich said some stuff on and off the air about me I didn't like. So I texted him some things that I had been holding on to from the course of our relationship, which he did not like. And around that time, or around maybe a little bit later, his agent told my agent, hey, like, maybe it's better if the guys negotiate separately. We'd always negotiated as a team. Now I said, okay, fine, I don't care. Yeah, we'll negotiate separately. Now, the prevailing wisdom in radio is if you're a team, you negotiate together because you have more value together as you do apart. You know, when I was out with the throat issue, remember when I couldn't talk in the beginning of the year, and then I came out and I went to Dr. Zervis, and he said that, you know, you can't talk for 3 weeks, you're going to have to miss 5 weeks of work. I didn't get paid. When I was out with all that, I got into a problem with Rich that became public. He went to management. We had a meeting that was very, very bizarre. But after the meeting, I did what management wanted me to do. They asked if I would do something. I agreed. I thought the problem would go away if I, bit the bullet. And from that point on, I thought it would be business as usual. Now, we had not talked, like Rich and I had not talked, and I have talked to you guys, and Rich, and it's not an insult to Rich, like Rich is honestly the only Rich I know. Like, I've known him for over 20 years, but I don't really know anything about him. Like, do you guys feel like you know a lot about him?
Not really.
Yeah, like, so, like, and it's not an insult to him. It's just, like, there's no real, like, I just didn't really talk to him. And then, so we weren't really talking. And during this whole process of the negotiations, we weren't talking. Like, we talked about, like, music and stuff like that off the air, but we never, ever, ever talked about the negotiations. We never, ever, ever talked about anything about business. We never, ever talked about anything. I never gave a directive to management that I wasn't going to work with them ever. That never was a part of my negotiation. And to my knowledge, that was not a part of his negotiation. That he had never requested not to work with me. That is to my knowledge. I've never been told that. And it never came up. My agent never told me that. Management never told me that. And I certainly didn't do that. I felt, listen, Rich and I never really talked that much. We're doing well. The show's still doing well. I like doing the show with him. I still enjoy the show on the air. You check in, you check out, and then we'll keep doing the show.
With the Eagles.
That's right, baby. And that's always been the dream.
And we're charging just as much for people to listen to
You
us.
tour separately, but you walk out of that stage, baby, and there's that match.
Yeah, we have separate tour buses. You understand what I'm saying?
And planes, yes, exactly.
But I talked to you guys. I've talked to you guys because I want communication to be more open. But I talked to you guys, and Rich didn't discuss his. And this is not an insult to Rich, but he didn't discuss any of this with you guys.
No.
Like he didn't act like anything was going on. So you have to understand. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm being completely honest with you. But I can only talk from my perspective. And I talked to you guys, and he wasn't saying that either. Now, I can only speak for myself. My negotiation went well. Now, believe it or not, because of the way I've been portrayed, I have a good relationship with management. And part of the reason I have a good relationship with management is because I've taken a lot of bullets. And believe it or not, there were situations, you will not believe this, but it's true, where I might have been considered the most level-headed out of the two of us. And I never felt pressure to sign because, like, I was damaged property or anything. My negotiation went well. I liked my negotiation. I'm happy with where I'm at. And what I will tell you is that, remember, the only reason you know anything about me or you know anything about anyone is because I've shared it on the air and someone that you know has told you about them. I've chosen to be open and honest. about what's going on in my life, for better or for worse. You can use it against me if you want. You're just repeating stuff back to me I already know. And I've never asked or expected anyone else on the show to do that. And I've never put pressure on anyone else on the show to really talk about very much that I truly felt they were uncomfortable with. I started to realize that Rich was negotiating with the station. I know that the station, they want me to say the station made him a multi-year offer for more money that he chose not to accept. And I knew that was kind of going, that they weren't really getting anywhere in their negotiation. But I don't have any idea what the issues between them were. I don't. So I can't speak on it. And you could literally put me on a lie detector, put a gun in my head, and ask any of us in this room if we know what was going on in that negotiation, and we would say no. Now, to kind of speak of the lack of communication, when Rich pulled the Toucher and Rich accounts and put them in his name, he never went, hey, Fred, I'm pulling the Toucher and Rich accounts. They have your name on them, and I'm putting them in my name. He never said anything to me about them. When we did the dumb syndication thing that I felt was never going to work, when the syndication thing ended, he told me and Nick and Mike and John at the same time, even though it was my name on the show. But that was just the way Rich was. He didn't really tell me anything, and I went along with it. It was everything was going well. We had good ratings. So fast forward to yesterday. We do the show. We have the meeting after the show. I'm in my car driving back, and I get a call that yesterday was Rich's last show on the station.
Sorry, for that meeting was just our post-show meeting to discuss
post-show meeting.
Today's show. We have one of those every
Yeah,
day.
we were talking about today's
Oh, yeah.
show. I assumed Rich was going to be here. We all assumed Rich was going to be here.
Seemed like he was, yeah. Yep.
And to be honest with you, what do I know? Maybe something could have been done at the last minute. Maybe whatever issues they were having could have been rectified. But that's not happening now. Rich is not coming back. And so I found that out. I got the call in the car. Now, when it became apparent that there were some hurdles in his negotiation, I again don't know why. I've talked to management and some people around the industry about the future of this show, and I have to be honest with you, I'm extraordinarily excited. Right here in the room between Nick, John, and Mike, there's a tremendous amount of talent still here, and Dan, there's a tremendous amount of talent because Dan's not in the room. So I have to mention him because he's behind the glass. But between...
Not on camera for a reason.
That's right. He's too handsome. He would take too much away from us. But out of the four guys that are here with me, there's a tremendous amount of talent. A talent that is sometimes overlooked by everyone, the audience, everyone here. They're incredibly valuable and incredibly good at what they do. And I hope they stay. And I believe in their talent, and I believe in them sticking around, and I'm excited about that. There's some very talented people in radio, some you know, some you don't know, that would be very excited to join this show. Now, would the Toucher of Rich show continue to be successful? I like to think so. Would it have gotten stagnant with the lack of communication and the just checking in and checking out? Perhaps. Do I believe that this is a new opportunity to refresh everyone and to get new blood in here and make not the same show without Rich, because there's only one Rich, but to do a show that is innovative and new and pushes boundaries and is like you haven't heard? Abso-effing-lutely. I'm very excited about the future of this show. And I have faith in these guys' talent, and I have faith in my talent, and what I brought to the Toucher and Rich show, and what I will bring to the future of the show. Now, the new show will launch at the beginning of the year. So the rest of the year will be like when Rich was on vacation.
The rest of us get to go on vacation, too?
No.
Oh. What do you...
Only me.
I didn't get that memo.
Okay.
No,
Thanks for bringing that up.
See after the new year.
No,
See holidays.
Part of my negotiation was that you guys
Had to stay here.
Yeah, you two. Well,
No
first
days
of,
off. But I appreciate that, Fred.
First of all, you're all taking pay cuts to afford my new salary.
Super.
To afford my new salary, you all took pay cuts, and to give me more vacation, you are all less vacation.
So it's like the guys I used to work with. At the other place.
Yeah, I went. Is this the most dysfunctional show you've been on? And John's like, no.
No, we had that conversation yesterday. No, not even close, Fred. You're good.
Now, what is the future of Rich? I have no idea. You guys have no idea. I have no idea. Literally could be he's got like the best job ever. He's got some job, for some national company, like on a syndicated show. He could be the new Maddie in the morning.
Could be the new Eddie Trunk.
I think even more Maddie in the morning.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could be like. I mean, he could have anything. He could have a new job lined up right now. I honestly don't know. Will I ever talk to Rich again? Not soon. Just because that's the way it is, and that's fine. But I begrudge Rich nothing. I'm very happy about the 17 years plus that we spent together. I couldn't have done it without him. And I hope he's got something on the horizon because I don't wish him any ill will. And he's very talented, and I'm sure he'll have a lot of success. But I'm even more certain that this show, certainly over the next 4+ years, is going to have a tremendous amount of success. And I'm absolutely certain you're going to enjoy it. So there you go. That is the story. That is as honest as I can possibly be with the information that I have. I've held nothing back from you. If you didn't hear it this time, you'll hear it again at 8.
Yeah, we're not replaying. I'm going to make you do it again live.
No, that's not happening. I can't do it. I don't have it in me. I'm walking a very thin line here, Danny O'Brien. So that's what's going on. I understand if you're upset. I understand if you don't care. I figure 60% of you don't care, and you're like, talk about sports. And then 40% care. But I have faith that all of you will be very excited when the future starts. And it can only be reinvigorating. So I appreciate you listening for the last 17 years plus. And I look forward to you listening to us into the future. I want to thank Dan, Nick, Mike, John.
I'm psyched. I got included, boys.
For being part of this.
I was last, but I appreciate it.
And
Thank
let's
you.
kick some ass. Let's kick some ass. All right. When we come back, we'll do sports talking, what happened last night, and we'll be right back.